Every now and then, something so unbelievable happens in Wizard101 that it's hard to actually believe that it's real. And that's what today's video is about. It's about a code that came out yesterday that could be redeemed an infinite number of times. Essentially an infinite crowns code glitch that lasted for a couple of hours yesterday. Now, I think this is really worth talking about it. I wanted to give y'all all the details of it in case you just didn't know about it, and also rate KingsIsle's response once they found out about it. Let's set the scene, right? What basically ended up happening is there was a streamer on Twitch, a small streamer doing an event where he had some giveaways going on, and the giveaways were sponsored by KingsIsle. Now, here's the thing, right? I'm pretty sure that the reason why this is so crazy is because this is basically the exact same situation that happened before, where codes were given away on a stream, and then people that were basically redeeming those codes got charged back. They got into a crazy mess with their accounts. The only difference this time is that the codes that were being given out on stream were from KingsIsle themselves, right? So you would think you could trust them. But we're talking not big numbers. It's just a 2,500 crowns thing. It's that's literally $5 on the website. And I think the intention was these 2,500 crowns, they were meant to be given to one viewer for them to redeem. And for some reason or another, they found out that they could be redeeming it multiple times. And what ensued after that was literally chaos. This code spread like wildfire. From Discord to Discord, it hopped. People were not just redeeming it on their one account one time. They were redeeming it multiple times on their one account. In a span of just a couple of hours, some individuals had hundreds of thousands of extra crowns for free, as if they did not pay for it. It got to that extent. Now, obviously, a code that was infinitely redeemable on the same account multiple times, clearly that was not intended. I think Wizard101 figured that out very quickly. It took them, I think, maybe an hour, 2 hours top. And not only was that code discontinued, just in case y'all are wondering, trying to get all these, that's not happening. Not only was the code discontinued, KingsIsle took some actions on exactly, the codes that they didn't want just circulating for free out there. Now, here's the moment of truth for them, right? I feel like this year, it's been a little crazy. If you guys have been following the videos, you definitely know about this. I've already kind of mentioned it, but they've had a lot of controversy over chargebacks recently, and a lot of the controversies around their approach to it. Basically, someone might give you a code, they'll charge it back, and then the person that redeemed the code, they would have consequences. It's been a whole mess this year, and this is their moment of truth, right? How did they respond to their own code not working and people getting a bunch of crowns on their account that they shouldn't have? There's really good news here. Nobody, to my knowledge, has gotten banned for this. I think they put out a message to the actual streamer that gave out the code, and I think basically what they communicated was that nobody would get banned, but if you did redeem the code, especially if you did it multiple times, you shouldn't spend the crowns, and they're basically going to deduct those crowns from your account. So let's say that I wasn't on extreme broke boy hours and I had those 2,500 crowns. Let's say this at 2,500. Basically, they could maybe do something as a widespread action and just subtract those 2,500 crowns from my account. No sanctions, no bans, no suspensions on my end, honest mistakes, we move on. Now, obviously, the real question that I have next is, what if you spent those crowns? What if you bought some elixirs and made a pet out of it? Or what if you opened up a bunch of packs or something? What is the actual policy on this? And this brings us back to the original issue of chargebacks as well, right? The reason why it's not clear cut is, let's say someone gives you 60,000 crowns, you spend those 60,000 crowns and they charge back. The reason people's accounts were getting suspended when that happened was because there's no way to trace exactly where those 60,000 crowns went, and there's no way to refund it from the player to KingsIsle back, right, if they've already spent the money. Time will tell what actually happens. I think the good news here is that this was a perfect example of something that it's totally KingsIsle's fault. There's no argument for blaming it on the streamer that gave it away, or even the viewers that redeemed it. It's a faulty code, clearly and utterly not anyone's fault but theirs, and they took accountability for it. I think they were very obvious about their approach on this one, and hopefully even the people who spent the crowns will be able to get whatever they got out of those crowns removed from their account so everyone can move on and be happy. Is this the start of the new policy they decided to adopt around chargebacks and account sanctions relating to crowns that you shouldn't have to begin with? Maybe this is the start, and that would be an amazing amount of progress on their end, because I don't think that this is a policy that they've used anytime recently. Now, I am gonna give my hot take, and I feel like this is not being said at all. If you saw a code that was infinitely redeemable and you redeemed it several times over, even then, I don't think that you're guilty, right? I think, you know what, maybe you just got carried away. I think if you went out of your way to spend those crowns before you got caught, I do think, especially the people that did this into the tens and thousands of crowns, if not hundreds of thousands of crowns, got a bunch of free crowns. I feel like people know at that point that that's really not intended. I think people have a very good way of knowing when something is too good to be true. So what I hope did not happen is people, you know, like use the fact that KingsIsle's been in a lot of hot water around this, redeemed a bunch of crowns, and then spent all of it. I hope that's not what people did. Because if people did do that, I assume what's going to end up happening is it's going to be much more complicated to remove those crowns and whatever they got from those crowns out of their account. The higher the amount of crowns we're talking about, the more things that they spent those essentially fake crowns on, the more of an issue you bring yourself. And I think that's the TLDR of this. Is it your fault if you redeem this code once like a normal person, or even use the code multiple times across multiple accounts? No, what I'm about to say does not apply to you. But if you're one of those people that can clearly see when something's too good to be true and you try to twist it into your personal gain, there will probably be consequences. And I don't think that people have that much ground to stand on if their account is affected by something where they went super overboard with this. This does not apply to the majority of people, but I do think that there is something to be said about this. As a community, we got to be honest and responsible about things like this, because there is no ground to stand on when you infinitely redeem a code that you know damn well that you shouldn't. To my knowledge, nobody took it to that extent where even they were getting banned for this. I think that's the good news at the end of the day. No one's getting banned. If anything, there's probably going to be, like, you know, something you could do to resolve the issue on your end if you did go overboard. The real question is, how widespread was this compared to the chargebacks that they've had in the past? And how much control do they have over the crowns when it's from a code that they give out versus a code that someone else randomly charges back, right? Is this somewhat synonymous to the chargeback controversies that they've had earlier? And I think while there are similarities, I think there is a lot of progress to be made when it comes to literally refunding crowns and everything that you spend your crowns on, if that makes sense. I think that's a hard system to just get in place, and I think it's a work in progress overall when it comes to their policies and how they deal with you ending up with crowns that you shouldn't end up with. I think the big bright side that unfortunately a lot of people aren't talking about is that KingsIsle's getting more involved in the community. The fact that they're giving out codes for streamers of all sizes, of content creators of all sizes, and they're interacting with them more with stuff like the new extra credit program. It is such a new page and a new chapter and everything that they're doing that honestly, when stuff like this happens and, you know, the spotlight's on them and they act like this, everyone benefits. I feel like this helps everyone get some recognition, and I feel like KingsIsle could have handled this so poorly and they didn't. All in all, I think there's more of a bright side to this than not. So, you know, hopefully you weren't affected by this crowns thing. Hopefully if you did redeem it and you weren't supposed to, all that happened is that it just got removed from your account and you moved on and had a good day. Hopefully that's how the story ends for most people. If not, I guess we'll hear about it soon and you'll see it in a video probably. As always, drop a like if you enjoyed. I just wanted to make a video talking about this and exactly what ended up happening, because I feel like a lot of people didn't know about the fact that no one got banned or anything. Hopefully now people will know about this. Drop a like if you enjoyed, leave a sub if you're new, and if somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong. Let me know what you guys think about this in the comments. Stay awesome, y'all. See y'all soon. And yeah.